Hi guys, welcome back to my really long channel. Would you believe this is now the third time I've had to re-record this? Hopefully I'll get it right this time. So, today we are reading Cookie by Jaqueline Wilson. We are reading chapter 8, which starts on page 101, and then it ends on chapter 9, of course, which is on page 117. This is all Jaqueline Wilson's own work. I'm just reading it for entertainment and pleasure. So, without further ado, first of all, we're going to cheer that I actually got that right. And second of all, we're going to just get going with the chapter. Let's go. Chapter 8. Dad went off to golf again early the next morning. The minute he slammed the front door, Mum jumped out of bed and pattered along the landing. Beauty, are you awake, sweetheart? Hey, can I come to have a cuddle with you this time? No, Mum, don't come in, I said. What? Why not? What is it? Said Mum, opening my bedroom door. Are you still sleepy? Do you want to snuggle down by yourself? Yes, no, oh Mum, I wailed. Mum came right into my room and switched on the light. I looked desperately at the mirror, wondering if it could have magically mended itself during the night. The crack looked uglier than ever. Mum's head jerked when she saw it, her hand going over her mouth. Oh lordy, a broken mirror, 7 years bad luck. However did it happen? Don't be cross, Mum, I begged. Don't be nuts. When am I ever cross with you? Said Mum, coming over to my bed. She put her arms around me and hugged me tight. What did you do? Did you knock against it somehow? Don't worry, I know it was an accident. No, it wasn't, Mum. I did it deliberately, I said, in a very small voice. Deliberately? Mum echoed, astonished. I threw my hairbrush at it, at me, my reflection, I said. Oh dear, said Mum, and she started crying. I'm so sorry, Mum. I'll pay for it out of my pocket money, I said. Please don't cry. I'm crying because your dad was such a pig to you, making you so unhappy. He was talking stupid rubbish, sweetheart. You look lovely. When your hair's natural, it's all soft and shiny. You got beautiful eyes, rosy cheeks, gorgeous smooth skin. Don't you dare let him put you down, baby. He puts you down. Yes, I know. Well, I'm going to try and stand up to him more. I know he's dead worried about his work, but that doesn't mean he can just be hateful and take it out on us, said Mum. She looked at the mirror, running her finger down the long crack. Could we mend it somehow? I asked. Don't be daft, said Mum. So what are we going to do? Simple. We'll buy another one, and we'll sneak this broken one out to the dump. But they cost hundreds of pounds, Mum. You know they do. I've got £7 left out of my pocket money after buying Rona's birthday present. I'll buy you a new mirror, silly. But you haven't got any money, Mum. Dad didn't want Mum to go out to do work now, not even at Happy Homes. He said her job was to make our home a happy home. He didn't give her an allowance out of his money. She had to ask for everything. Dad didn't even let her have her own credit card. Mum was nibbling at one of her nails, thinking about it. I'll sell some stuff, she said. Some of my rings or maybe a necklace. That's not fair on you, Mum. It was me that broke the mirror. Shall I sell some of my jewellery? I had a gold chain with a tiny real diamond and a silver bangle and some turquoise beads and a small gold signet ring with my initial on. I don't think your jewellery would fetch much, Beauty. I've got masses of stuff. I've sold one or two bits of jewellers near the market before when I've needed to. Oh, Mum, I knew she spent the money on me every so often. Mum took me up to London on Saturdays to go to art galleries. We never told Dad. He hated art. He said all old master paintings were boring and religious stuff, and all modern art utter rubbish and a con. I'm not sure Mum really liked going round all the galleries either. She often yawned and rubbed her back, but she still trotted around gamely in her high heels. She bought me postcards of all my favourite paintings, and I pasted them into scrapbooks so that I had my own mini gallery to look at whatever I liked. If I get to be an artist when I'm grown up, I'm going to treat you to so many different lovely things, Mum, I said. I think artists are supposed to starve in garrets, said Mum. Maybe we'll both be living on dry biscuits and water. Ah, that reminds me. Do you fancy doing some baking this morning? Baking? I stared at Mum. Yeah, why not? She said. I thought I'd have to go at making cookies. Then you could maybe take them to school and share them round. I suddenly saw where she was coming from. So they'll start calling me Cookie. We could try it, eh? Oh, Mum, you are sweet. But, I hesitated. Do you know how to bake cookies? Of course I do, said Mum. Well, it can't be that difficult. Remember that time when we made cakes together? I remembered. They weren't proper cakes. They were just made from a cake mix packet, and even so we got them wrong, adding too many eggs because we thought it would make them taste nicer. We put them right at the top of the oven, hoping that would make them go golden. They didn't do this at all. They burned themselves black, though the insides were all soppy and scrambled. We still iced them and ate them all up, insisting that they were delicious. Maybe this had been a mistake. Have you got a cookie packet mix, Mum? I'm not sure they do them. We'll just have to make them up from scratch, said Mum. We had breakfast first, spooning down our cornflakes, then we rolled up our sleeves and got cracking on the cookies. Mum found an old bag of flour at the back of the cupboard. It had been there since I used flour and water paste when I was at nursery school. Mum cracked in an egg and stirred in some milk. Then she kneaded and I kneaded. We both got our great lumps of cookie dough and thumped them around on the table until they were lovely smooth balls. Hey, they look good, I said. How shall we roll them out? We didn't have a rolling pin, so Mum improvised with a bottle of wine. We didn't have any cookie cutters either, but Mum twisted the lid off a jar of jam and started cutting out round on her flattened dough. I'm going to make mine into people, I said, starting to mould my dough. Well, like gingerbread men, said Mum. Sort of. I made a dough woman, carefully cutting a skirt for her, then putting a little dough high heels on her pale legs. I broke off pieces of dough and rolled them long, and then my fingers, I twirled them round and round, creating long curls. I stuck them on the dough woman's head. I found a safety pin and fashioned features on her dough face. 2 big eyes, a little nose, a cupid's bow mouth smiling at me. I smiled back as I laid her carefully on the baking tray. I started on another dough person, small and square. I made her dough dress for her and gave her a fancy hairdo. Her eyes went squinty when I scratched them into place. Her nose went blobby and her mouth turned down. I stared at her, sighing. Then I pulled all the dough ringlets right out and gave her a radical haircut, chopping it tomboy short. It didn't look so bad now. I peeled off the party dress and made her dough dungarees. She looked much better. I rubbed at her mouth and she started smiling. Mum peered over at the finished figure on the baking tray. Oh, Beauty, that's so good. Is that me? She came and stood beside me. And who's this? Is this a boy? No, it's you with short hair. You look so cute. I wish I did have short hair, I said. Do you think Dad would mind terribly if I had it all cut off? Mum rolled her eyes. I don't even think about it, she said. I put on my dough girl beside her mum. Then I got started on my dough man. Is that Dad? Said Mum. I didn't answer. I made the body and then rolled the arms and the legs. I made a pin marks on the dough shirt to show it was checked and gave his long legs comfy jeans. I spent ages carving his face with my pin to give it the right and gentle expression. Of course it wasn't Dad. I started on a new smaller version, very fat, with 4 little legs. I fashioned long loppy ears, then I carefully picked her up and laid her on my man's chest. He wrapped his doughy arms around her, holding her close. My tray was full now. I patted my special pastry people, feeling bad as I put them into the hot oven. I hope it doesn't hurt, I whispered foolishly. I'll try not to let you burn. Mum put her tray of plain round cookies above mine, and we shut them in the oven. Tra-la, said Mum. Welcome to the world, Cookie Girl. Well, hi there, Cookie Mum, I said. Mum switched on the radio, and we started dancing to the pop music in our pyjamas. Mum switched on the radio and we started dancing to the pop music in our pyjamas. We didn't disco dance like Sky. This was happy mad dancing, leaping around the room, beating a tattoo on the tabletop, tapping out tunes with the spoons. We sank into our seats, exhausted, then the music stopped. I can smell the cookies, I said, my nose twitching like Lily's. Do you think they're ready yet? We've only just put them in the oven, sweetheart. They'll be ages yet. Come on, let's go and get washed and dressed while we're waiting. I washed and dressed in double quick time, not quite trusting Mum's judgment. I decided to have a little peep in the oven. I just opened the door a tiny crack so as not to let the heat out. I stared. Then I opened it wide, peering at the 2 trays. Mum, I shouted. Oh, Mum, something really awful's happened. Mum came rushing into the kitchen in her underwear. Have you burned yourself? Have you broken something? What is it, Beauty? Look at the cookies, I wailed. Mum's neat cookies had expanded in every direction, joining up so that her baking tray contained one long, flat, misshapen biscuit. My lovely cookie people had expanded too. They were now great, grotesque caricatures. Sam was this bloated, blobby man, all head and huge stomach, and lovely Lily had blown up into a beach ball. Little Mum was great giant, and even her careful curls were ruined. Now she looked as if she had snakes writhing right out of her head. I was the worst, so squat. I was completely square, my dungarees inflated into fast overalls, my short haircut making me look like a man. Not any old man, I looked the spitting image of my dad. I put on an oven glove and pulled the baking tray out of the oven. I picked up the me cookies, even though it was red hot, and snapped off its stupid head. Hey, stop it, Beauty, don't burn yourself. And stop spoiling them. They might look a bit weird, but I bet they taste yummy, said Mum. We waited and they cooled down and a little and then nibbled. They didn't taste good at all. They were as flat and as hard as boring as cardboard. Oh dear, said Mum. She took the oven glove and pulverised her own cookie. They're horrible, aren't they? Yep, your dad's right. I can't cook for toffee, said Mum, dropping. Yes, you can, I said. I hesitated. Well, maybe you could learn. I'm useless at learning stuff. I always bottom of the class at school, said Mum. Thick as a brick, that's me. No, you're not. You're pretty and witty, I said. Okay, so you're cute and astute, said Mum. Maybe we need a proper recipe book, I said, scraping the cookie crumbs into the waste bin. I think we need to get all the ingredients right. Maybe this is the wrong sort of flour, and perhaps we've left something important. What would make the cookies softer and sweeter? Butter and sugar, said Mum. Okay, I'll look for a recipe book tomorrow. Number 2 on my shopping list. Number 1 will be the new Venetian glass mirror. I quivered. Sorry, forget about it now. Shall we go and watch some telly? Don't they have Sam and Lily Omnibus edition on a Sunday morning? Mum and I curled up at either end of the sofa. We tucked our feet up cosily. We were never allowed to do that when Dad was around because he said it marked the sofa cushions. Mum flipped through the Sunday papers while I spun round and round into Sam and Lily's world in the rabbit hutch. I'd seen all 5 programmes during the week, and so I could whisper all the right words. At the end of all the repeats, there are a special 5 minutes of Sam and Lily on Sunday. Hey there, said Sam. He was holding Lily. She twitched her nose at me, but she was more interested in something down on the ground. She struggled a little in Sam's arms, not quite sure of herself. Hey, Lily, it's okay. It's only a little black cat come to say hello. Let me introduce you. Sam bent down so that Lily's face was on a level with the cat's. They regarded each other warily. Lily met Lucky. Lucky mate, Lily. Sam looked out of the television set at me. And here's my very special friend Beauty. Say meow to her, Lucky. Lucky obediently gave a tiny new lifting and licking once small paw. Oh, Lucky, you're so sweet, I whispered. Lily stared at me reproachfully. Not quite as sweet as Lily, of course, I said. Lucky's come to live in the house next door. She just popped in to meet her new neighbour, said Sam. Are you going to come and say hello on a daily basis, Lucky? Lucky gave a demure nod. Well, that's just fine and dandy, because that means you'll cross our path, and if a little black cat does that, then we'll have a lucky day. I wish you lived next door to me, Lucky, I whispered. I need all the luck in the world to counteract 7 whole years of bad luck. 7 years, said Sam. That's all the way practically till you were grown up. What have you done to inflict such a curse upon yourself? I broke my mirror, I confess. Oh, Beauty, is that all? Said Sam. Don't worry, you won't really get 7 years bad luck. That's just an old wives' tale. I glanced at Mum, who was deep in a fashion article. Okay, young wives' tale, said Sam. But it's just a silly superstition. I think we make our own luck, Beauty. Well, I'm not very good at it, I said, sighing. I wish you could come and live in the rabbit hutch with you, Sam, Lily and Sam. We'd love that too, said Sam. Do you think we'll ever meet? Sam looked straight into my eyes. Yes, we'll meet. Really? Actually face to face? Absolutely face to face. Or ear to ear in Lily's case. Lily made a little snorty noise as if she was laughing. Then Sam reminded everyone that he'd love to see a drawing or painting of their pets and said goodbye. Bye, Sam. Bye, Lily, I said out loud. Bye, Sam and Lily, Mum said, turning her page. The television voice said, Who have we just seen then? Sam and Lily in the rabbit hutch, Mum and I said simultaneously. I stood up. I think I'll go and do some drawing, Mum, I said. I sat cross-legged on my bed upstairs with my drawings, pad and coloured pencils. I propped Reginald Redhead up beside me, telling him I wanted to draw his portrait. You can be my pet, and then I can send your picture off to Sam in the rabbit hutch, I said. Reginald Redhead looked down at his snout at me. He seemed offended at the idea that he was my pet. He He wouldn't pose properly, falling forwards, flipping backwards, even tumbling head over heels over the edge of the bed onto the carpet. Okay, don't cooperate then. I won't draw you. I'll draw Nicholas Navy Bear instead, I said. I divided my page into 4 squares. I drew myself looking at Nicholas on the tray at Rona's party. I was smiling from ear to ear as I saw his little furry face. Then in the second square I drew my hand gently cradling Nicholas. He lounged against my fingers, using thumbs as a footrest. He was smiling from ear to ear too. I drew splashes of water in my third picture with poor Nicholas thrashing wildly through the waves, mouth wide open, screaming for help. Then I drew the poor drowned Nicholas lying in an open coffin, paws crossed on his chest with wreaths of daisies and dandelion crosses arranged all around him. It was hard getting all 4 pictures properly balanced. I had to rub out quite a lot, but at least it seemed okay. I coloured it in very carefully, not going over a single line and keeping my pencil strokes as smooth as I could. Mum came up to see how I was getting on, and I acted like I was an artistic genius. You have to send it in to Sam, Beauty, she said. No, Mum, I'm too old, and my picture's too weird, I said, closing my drawing book. You're so artistic, Beauty. Mum hesitated. Shall we show it to Dad when he comes in? No, he'd be ever so proud. No, he wouldn't. He'd go for a run, I puffed. I puffed myself up and put on a deep dad voice. Why don't you do proper drawing of a teddy rather than this damn daft cartoon rubbish? Mum burst out laughing. Oh, stop it. Yes, that's exactly what he'd say. Okay, we won't show him. And that is the end of chapter 8, guys. So obviously the next chapter will be chapter 9. Thank you so much for listening. I would like to get another one in for April, but I don't know, guys. This is my second one, my 2 out of 2. So hopefully we'll get some more in, but I can't promise anything. As always, guys, thank you so much for listening and for your time, your likes, your comments and advice. And let me know what you'd like in the comments below for a next book or any other things that you would like to hear or see. Thank you. Goodbye.